Hey there everyone, I'd like to tell you about the YouTube channel I Am Your Target Demographic. If you're a fan of comics, we have plenty that you'll enjoy over there, including a series called Heroes Like Us that explores comic characters of all sorts of different identities. And we even have a series that defines words that are used in nerd culture that you may not know what they mean. So you can check us out by heading to YouTube and searching I Am Your Target Demographic, or look up IAYTD on any social media outlet.
Hi, this is Doug Manch, and you're listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, hi Loonies, this is the High Priest of Khonshu, Ray, and I am with one of the hosts and founders of Fantasy Comic League, Brian. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on to talk about your division.
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm utterly enjoying it. As you probably heard in the lead up to this little chat on the episode, Connor and I are enjoying our stint in this season and our first ever sanctioned division of ITK Moon Knight. And anyway, yeah. So we have Brad here, who's graciously, taking some of his time out to go through how we're kind of going on our maiden season as a sanctioned division within the FCL. Brian, I don't know, I guess first off, how would you, there's a bit of a ragtag bunch of us in the group. I'll just quickly go through it. There's obviously the two high priests of Khonshu, myself and Connor. In there, we have Tommy, the man on the streets, Cavill. He's in there, one of the Loonies. Also made up with another couple of Loonies. The power of Chad Jernigan. He's in there. A very interesting choice there for Chad with his drafts. We'll get into that, Brian. And finally, of course, Dustin Cold Case Kurtz. He rounds off our team. So Brian, I don't know how. First of all, actually, for any Loonies out there interested in the Fantasy Comic League, how about a summary of what it's all about? First off.
Sure, absolutely. So the Fantasy Comic League, myself and my former podcast co-host Sean Martineau, we developed this back in 2014 as just the two of us, having some fun. We needed a little, I just blanked on the word, a kitsch, for the podcast, to something set us apart from all these other comic book podcasts. Because I'm sure, as you know, it's a very, very wide library of them out there.
Absolutely.
So we said, let's do like a fantasy sports type situation where you draft a team of superheroes that you see in the comics, and it's kind of like fantasy baseball, fantasy football, where you pick your team, you get points based on stuff like appearances, powers, team ups, things like that. Anybody that follows your community and your newsletter will see the cards that we give you guys on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to, it gives new meaning to the comics that you read. There are characters that you normally wouldn't care about, books that you normally wouldn't care about, that you actually get invested in now because you have that person on your team and you want to see them, do well and get involved in a lot of fights.
Yeah, it's a very smart way of actually broadening your horizon as a comic book fan. You might draft a character that as you say, you're unfamiliar with, and you end up kind of following them and making sure that they rack up enough points and such. But it's also, I love the fact that it, obviously it parallels with the fantasy football league, and so anyone familiar with that as well would know basically the same principle. But it's really fun to do. It's two things, Brian. It's a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work. I mean, right. How much time do you have to set aside for this?
Not as much as I should, but that's like I said, partly because we're expecting our second child here soon. And
congrats.
Thanks. So like I said, it started off with me and Sean. And I think by the end of 2016, we had 6 people involved. And 2017 is when we split into this whole division format.
Right.
where we're like, all right, well, we can't have a league full of like 10 people, because then you know, you'd have teams that were just complete garbage, drafting people that don't show up and stuff.
Yeah.
So we said, all right, well, you know, we can figure out a way to like have a division of 5 participants each.
Yeah.
And then so 2017, we went from 2 divisions to 3 divisions, 4 divisions in a season, until the end of 2018, we hit 10 divisions. And it was great.
Yeah.
And I started outsourcing some of the help running these divisions, which was really important.
Yeah.
I mean, but once we hit 10, it was, you know, and the thing that sucks is I was doing it all in a Microsoft Excel program, which was great because, you know, I set up the formulas so that all I had to do was input the data for the characters.
Okay. Right.
And then that would automatically update the division team standings. But I mean, that still took a lot of time. So what I really need, and I have an older brother who's a computer programmer. But if anybody out there that listens wants to be involved and do more, what we really need is a database. And that's what my brother is trying to build, so that it's more like Yahoo Fantasy Sports, where you can just type in, you know, a character's name and see all their stats get brought up for you. Yeah. Or you can like run the draft through like the actual website. And that's what we're trying to work on.
Okay.
And so we skinnied it down from 10 divisions, mainly to save me some time and sanity. So just doing more sanctioned divisions. And sorry, that's Parker upstairs, my almost 2-year-old. So now we have, there's, I guess, 3 main sanctioned divisions that I kept. So at the beginning of this year, and, you know, stop me if I start rambling too much about this stuff. We said, instead of doing this division play, you know, we beta tested that over the past 2 years is what I called it. Right. And I think we proved that system works, you know, get a group of you and 4 of your friends like you guys did, set up your own division, you know, have fun talking shit to one another, and see who comes out on top. I think that's the best way to do it, you know, but we also experiment this free-for-all format, which is just like, hey, draft a team of 8 characters that all fit into one of these team slots. And that's more of a more accessible monthly single way to play. But that's still a lot of work. Yeah,
I mean, from a user, I think that's such a great option to have because, it does free you up. But on your side of things, there is still a lot more work. Like you're talking about setting up a database and programming stuff, but you still have to score these things. You know, you still have to pour through. You have to do the hard yards and pour through the comics and I know I've been briefly part of the group that you have where you do kind of vote and discuss whether points or whether characters deserve points.
You're still in that group,
right? I'm still in there, yeah. But I mean, I think I mentioned because I'm so far behind in comics, and I'm just wary of being spoiled in some of the discussions, which, you know, obviously you have to discuss because you're going through the latest and greatest comics. Definitely, and I'm very, I very much appreciate being part of the group. So I do dip in every now and then, just have a quick little look. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to vote once I think I'm about like 2 weeks behind now, so I'm getting there. I'm nearly up to scratch with my latest comics. Just, you know, things.
No, it's great, and that's the other great thing I'd say about this league and setting this up is, you know, before we ran this, I was, you know, purely that X-Men, Avengers, Spider-Man guy, you know, and that's all I would read. But now it's, now I read everything. And, and that's part of the time commitment as well.
Yes.
You know, because Marvel's not putting out like 10 books. They're putting out, there's like weeks where there's like 18 books. And I'm like, this is killing me. Because when we did.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Because when we did this free-for-all format, it's like, all right, well, we need to make sure we're keeping track of any potential character with any potential power, because anybody can take whoever they want with the free-for-all, you know? Like, before we did it, we just tracked who people were drafting in this division play. Yeah. But in the future, when this becomes, like, a big thing that's accessible to everybody through an app on your phone and everything, like, you need to make sure that if somebody wants to draft, you know, Crystal of the Inhumans, you're recording any potential point that she shows up in.
Yes.
So
exactly. Have you been caught up? Have you been caught up from some of the players going, look, hey, you know, I think such and such deserves more? I mean, not within that group that we have, but like just from the users themselves.
Like in which sense?
Oh, has anyone contacted you going, look, I believe, you know, Crystal actually deserves more points?
There are definitely people that do reach out. I feel like maybe we lost a little steam this year when we contracted from the 10 big ones down to, you know, the 3 or 4. And I think part of that, you know, that's my fault, but that was a choice that I had to make. You know, it kind of like the Phoenix. You know, you got to burn down a little bit.
Yes.
And then, you know, get reborn in the future as a brighter, wonderful thing. And ideally, that's where we're going to get. You know, when we get a computer program, an app, hopefully, and of course, you guys doing the most, putting your money where the mouth is, and becoming an official sanctioned division. Which is great. And clearly, I don't ever want to ask people to like give me money. You know,
but it all takes time and effort and you know resources. So you do need. You know, you do need to keep the lights on, so to speak.
Right. When my wife divorces me, because this is all I do, I'm going to make sure I have some sort of income. So can you let the Loonies know? So we obviously have the ITK division, Moon Knight division. What are the other divisions out there? Who are we up against? So we've got Sean and I. We kept our divisions mainly because it's our baby.
Yep.
So I'm in Midtown with a couple people who have been long-standing. So and not to show favoritism, you know, but these divisions are a little bit more of the veterans who've been with us for a long time, and these are people who I'm not going to be like, hey, give me money. Not that you guys aren't special, but it's some people like Swampy, this dude Swampy, who's been with us since like the end of 2016.
Okay.
And then 2 of the divisions, Sean doesn't get cards for his. He says he's fine doing his own thing, and I'm fine with that as well. Saves me an effort. So these cards that I keep talking about, these are our stat cards, which you guys see.
Very cool.
And those, those take some time as well. And these are some of the things that keep me up at night, being like, Marvel's going to see these one day and sue me and be like, stop using our characters. But so far it's fine. And then the other 2 divisions are run by Lori Hyrup and Faye. I'm not sure if you've seen their names around.
I've seen Lori. I can't remember. Is Faye the Black Widow person? No.
Yeah, she's the big Black Widow fan.
Yes, okay.
And she is one who will constantly fight for points for people like Black Widow. And Rogue, and so there are definitely people that say, oh, you know, I think so and so gets this point, but it might not be as much as it used to be. But it's every now and then we'll still get people that will speak up for stuff and say, hey, we missed out on this. But I think between Sean and I, because Sean and I read everything, and then we'll first debate about, you know, our points and see where we disagree. And if there's any points that we can't agree on, that's when we take it to the point group that you mentioned earlier, and we'll have people vote. So it's more of like a democratic process. And when it was just Sean and I in the beginning, it was like we could never agree on anything. So most of our podcast in the beginning was just us arguing over, you know, what counted as a creative kill for Deadpool. So it's really nice to have that built-in community chat right there to help us like vote on stuff.
That's cool. And so you mentioned Midtown. Laurie and Faye, they cover Asgard, is it? Or
Laurie, the big Jane Foster fan, she does Asgard.
Well, she'd be very happy with Valkyrie now coming out. The comic.
She's a big fan of that one. I haven't read that one yet. That's coming up soon here.
Cool.
And then Faye, she used to do Midtown. She took that over from me when I switched over to Latveria to get a European-based division. I think that's where you came in, right?
Yes, I did. Yep.
And then when we shut Liberia down, Faye was like, "Oh, can I rename Midtown to Red Room?" So she does Red Room in honor of Black Widow.
Yeah, that's
And
great. It's a great name.
And then Anthony Bachman, the other main division lead, he technically runs Midtown. But since I'm in there, I give it the boost that it needs to give us weekly card updates. So Midtown and Into the Night are our main weekly sanctioned divisions where they get the weekly updates.
Yep.
And then Asgard and Red Room are the bare minimum if you want to support us through Patreon. If you do like $5 a month, you'll get that type of treatment where you'll get a card at the end of the month, and you'll have your own division. But the big one is $20 a month.
Yes.
You'll get cards on a weekly basis. We'll come talk to you. At least once a season. If somebody wanted us to come in once a month to talk about their progress, I would see no problem with that. And ideally, we get our own podcast back up and running at some point when I get some semblance of
that'd be cool.
a life going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Fantasy Comic League. You can find all of us if you don't see us through Into the Night.
Yeah.
Newsletters and stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely put the details in the show notes and of this episode, and I love putting them in the newsletter and in our Facebook group as well, just to keep other Loonies abreast with how we're kind of doing. So you mentioned the seasons. The seasons are a few months long. It's sort of
4 months.
May to August. So we are heading towards the end of July, and I just wanted to get your thoughts then. How we're tracking at the moment, our ITK Moon Knight division, and where do you see us? How do you see us tracking by the end of August?
I like in comparison to the other divisions. Not sure, because like I said, I blew up my Excel sheet and now I'm using Access Database, so I don't have all the divisions laid out.
Yes.
Point wise. But you have the Spider-Man ban.
Yes, actually, I wanted. Sorry, Brian. Wanted to actually before we go into that, about the Spider-Man ban. So again, just to explain to the Loonies out there, so you propose this option to the divisions, right? You can either use Spider-Man in your draft, or you can choose not to because he's such an MVP. Is that correct?
He's absolutely an MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had 29 weeks here, and I'm going to start getting nerdy and busting out the stats now. This is absolutely my favorite part about the Fantasy League is my database of all these stats. Yeah. So out of the 29 weeks in 2019 that we have scored so far, Peter Parker has shown up in 27 of them.
Wow.
So he's only not shown up in 2 weeks this year, which, I mean, is fine. I mean, he's Marvel's flagship character, but really the main issue is he has 297 points.
Wow.
Like, that's a lot. The next closest is Wolverine, I want to say. And ever since his return, he's been chugging ahead. He's at 240.
Wow. Okay, so he's pretty up there. Like, because he'd been missing for a long time. Spider-Man.
And so that's what I'm thinking. Like, one of the counters I see, they're the only two that have more than 200 points. I think most of the Avengers, like Captain America, Iron Man, and those other top tier characters, they're coming in around like 160 nowadays.
Oh wow, okay.
So there's a big discrepancy. But I want to say that now that Wolverine is coming back full force,
yes,
he can really offset that Spider-Man ban, I feel, because the Spider-Man ban, there are some divisions that are like, this is unfair. Yeah. If you take Peter Parker, you're automatically guaranteed a victory.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true, right? Because if you take Spider-Man,
yes, you still have to pick the powers, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
You have to take the powers, and if you take Spider-Man and you don't take webs, I don't know what you're doing, because out of his, let's see now, he has 65 appearances this year. He has 52 web usages. So I mean, that he's getting like a web pretty much every issue.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're just, and that's the other thing about the league. The more you play, the more you pay attention, you'll see which powers, like Storm, anybody that flies, take flight. Like,
but it has to be like used like flight. It's not just them flying, right? There has to be a purpose to their flight. We score a point. Yep.
absolutely. I mean, that's the way I try to do it.
Yep.
You know, like the original intention was every power has to have a purpose. You know, you can't, like, if somebody's just hovering there,
Yes.
I try not to give them flight.
Yes.
You know, because that's just like walking. If somebody's walking down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
But with this group chat and the fact that we vote on stuff, Sean is very lenient on points. And
I see.
like I've always said, it needs to be done like for a purpose in battle or something like that. But I remember there was that X-Men holiday special that came out maybe last year.
The one page per story? Well, one story per page, sorry,
yeah. And Iceman was decorating the Christmas tree with like ice. And I'm like, that shouldn't count. Like, he's not really doing anything. But everybody voted saying he's using it. There's a purpose to it. So, yeah, it should count for ice.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right. You know, like, I would like to rule with an iron fist and say, no, that doesn't count. But, you know, this is all about fun. And
it's
the
all
more
about...
points somebody gets, the more fun it is.
That sounds like a fun discussion as well, isn't it? Like you can really get into the details, and as long as it doesn't get heated and, you know, overblown and stuff, it does sound like a really kind of fun kind of thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage that. I think that's the main thing is, you know, and that's the one thing I need to work on as well is figure out the best way to engage people on Twitter and stuff. And, you know, I've slept on it the past few weeks, but, you know, sharing stuff like here's the hero of the week, here's the antagonist of the week, here's our panel of the week. Like, I want to do all that stuff to get people to talk more about those comics and those characters that people are showing up in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you've got these great newsletters as well that come out. There are a couple of there's like the previews, right?
The previews at the beginning of the month, so people can see like who's expected to do the best.
Yep.
You know, and then every week I put out, you know, here's the scores, because in case in case anybody wants to run their own division, they're able to do that and they don't have to go through us, you know, because it's just like the old days, you know, like pick up a newspaper and you can see the baseball stats and run your own fantasy league. You know, you don't have to go through us. We're going to, and this is the other way I want to get around getting sued by Marvel, right? Like, this isn't a game. You know, this is the way we choose to review your characters. Yeah. Like, we're not, and this is one of the main things, like, I like the creators, but half the time I can't tell you who writes what or who draws what. Like, because my interest is solely on the characters.
Yeah, you're focused on the characters,
Right, and so I want to review the characters and not review the creators. And so the Fantasy Comic League will review how these characters are doing in the books and tells you who the top characters are for the year and stuff like that.
That's very refreshing, you know. It's something quite different because, I mean, again, I'm a big fan of the writers and the artists as well. There's nothing wrong with learning and reading more about them, but to just have something just solely on the characters, there's that element of fun to it, you know.
And I feel that's missing a lot because a lot of the people, like in their reviews, all these people's reviews, they want to review based on how the writer's doing, how the artist is doing, but it's like we read these for the most part because we like the characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to put more of that spotlight on the characters and show this is how Peter Parker's doing, you know, this is you know what he did in this issue. And so there's still a lot of room to grow and a lot of stuff that we can mine and stuff like that. But
I know that you've got a lot on your plate at the moment as well, family wise, as well as running the FCL. But I know
my day job,
and your day job, of course. Let's not forget, you know, what puts butter on the bread. But you also, I've noticed a while ago you set up a stall in one of the cons, right?
We had a promotional booth at Washington DC's Awesome Con. It was great.
Yeah, awesome, great. And is that something that you to kind of spread the word and to get that? Would you be looking at setting up a stall? Because look, I'm just going off the back of I'm an Aussie here, so we don't get many cons here. But I'm assuming over in America, you guys they're kind of semi-regular. Or you can pick a fair few. Is there something that you think of doing, of maybe going over promoting it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think DC, so I used to live closer to DC, but when we bought a house this past spring to make room for the growing family, we moved a little bit further away. We're still close to DC, but, you know, when I say close, you have to keep in mind that DC has some of the worst traffic in the country. Like,
really? Jeez.
It's awful. The fact that I don't have to go into my day job office every day is great, because that allowed me to move further out. But it's a nightmare. Like, we're maybe 30 miles south of DC, but it will take you a good hour and a half or 2 hours, depending on what time you leave.
Oh, wow. Gosh, that is a stretch.
And it's awful. And I mean, but it's there's so many people that live around here that work for the government but it's nice because everything I need is here, and there's Comic-Cons all over the place. You know, there's a DC Comic-Con, there's a Northern Virginia Comic-Con, there's a Richmond Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's what I imagine it to be, kind of like, you know, it's just Comic-Cons popping up everywhere. It's cool.
And there's comic stores everywhere. I think there's like 2 comic stores close by to this new area that we moved, where I used to live. There was like 2 or 3.
Do you somehow hit a link up with them and somehow kind of, I don't know, do you promote it, market?
Yeah, there are times I've
stores?
tried. Yeah, I talk about it when I go in there.
Yeah, look, we've only got again a very few comic stores around my area. We've got a good one that I always go to when I can. It's King's Comics in Sydney, just in George Street. They've moved recently. They're going to be moving to Clarence Street. But this is something that I'd love to just chat to the staff about, Fantasy Comic League. I haven't yet, and I'd actually love to get their thoughts, because obviously they are big fans as well of comic books. And I think there's a good avenue there with your LCS. Taking an interest in Fantasy Comic League. Again, it's a point of discussion that you can have along with just your favourite comic books. You know, it's one of those things that you can just chat about around the water cooler. You know what I mean? So it's really.
Yeah, I try to sneak it in when I talk to these local comic shops. I'm like, hey, run this thing. This is why I'm flipping through all your books. You know, I'm not being a scumbag. But nobody's really bitten just yet. But I think, like you said, that would be a great avenue for, you know, every comic shop to have like their own division of like people that come in, and every Wednesday people can come around, get around, and talk about their divisions. So, and I think I keep saying this, my mantra for the past year is like it's all gonna be dependent on the computer program in the app, because once you have that easy, accessible digital way to share it, and it's not just done through a Twitter division chat, you know, because one of the things I learned from the con here that we were in, to go back to that for a second, was, you know, we had people sign up using the free-for-all method. You know, it was the end of April, and I said, okay, I have all the stats for April, so people select a team of 8 characters, and then I'll give you a score, and then every day of the con there was a winner. And I would give away some signed trade paperbacks. But on the sheet we had, you know, give us your Twitter handle so I can let you know if you won or not. And it was like, I'd say 3/4 of the people were like, I don't have a Twitter handle. And, you know, I'm not the biggest like supporter or proponent of Twitter, but I figured it was bigger than that. But
for sure.
I was surprised at how many people were just like, oh, we don't have Twitter. And so, I mean, running this thing through Twitter is just, I feel, severely limiting us in that regard as well. Because it's like, there are people out there who don't have Twitter that would probably use it through an app or something like that. So.
Oh yeah, an app would definitely. I reckon that's definitely the way forward. So hopefully, any projected time soon where, you know, ballpark?
I don't know, man.
Just a work in progress.
It's a constant work in progress, because, like I said, my older brother he's a computer programmer, but he's got 3 kids himself.
Right. Finds it hard to.
He's busy.
Yeah.
Ideally, I'd like the computer program at the very least to be up and running by 2020. Okay. Which I think we can get. Okay. An app, though, that might be a little bit more intense. The whole deal is I'm trying to... Yeah, hey, buddy. I'm trying to save as much money as possible, because, you know, like something like this could cost like thousands of dollars.
It could. Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I don't want to we don't need to ramble too much on the logistics and the behind the scenes thing. So.
No, not all. Well, I just wanted probably should wrap that up there now, Brian. Just the fact that it's kind of getting a little late over here, but really a huge thank you for your time. Where's the best? Where can people find you and look up the Fantasy Comic League?
Yeah, so of course, we have our website, fantasycomicleague.com. Mm-hmm. That's where all the weekly point reviews go up, and I'm constantly doing some soul searching and thinking about ways I can make that site more accessible and enjoyable for people. Mm-hmm. And then, all the social media, just search Fantasy Comic League. Mm-hmm. Twitter is at Fantasy Comic LG due to spacing limitations. Mm-hmm. But we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely follow us on Twitter. That's where most of the action takes place. We have the Patreon. If you wanted to become a sanctioned reviewer and set up your own league, that information will be put up there. Mm-hmm. We'll have new seasons starting in September. And like I said, if you ever just want to play along by yourself, we make all the information readily accessible to you through our website, so you can get the points and you can do your own math and stuff like that. Yeah. Make your own cards, however you want to do it. But if you want to be sanctioned through the Fantasy Comic League, like Into the Night, definitely, drop us a line on Twitter, support us on Patreon, and we can set something up for you.
Yeah. We'll definitely Sorry?
No, that's fine. And we can go ahead and talk about, your guys' division right here a little bit, so everybody can see how it runs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, I thought you were winning. I thought you won the first month, but you did not.
No, that was Connor, wasn't it?
Yeah, Connor. So you guys have a 3-way tie after 2 months at 4 points on the season. Okay. You, Connor, and Thomas all have 4 points. Thomas, he's got the good system going, which I think is really the way to go, is get second place every month.
He's been consistently good.
Place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the way that works is, if you win first place in a month, you get 3 points. Second place gets you 2. Third and fourth get you 1. And then Angel here, I'm not sure what you said his real name was. He unfortunately has gotten last both seasons, or both months. So he's sitting down there with the 0 points.
Well, he loves his characters. He loves his Winter Soldier, Loki, I think it was She-Hulk, and I can't remember the fourth player. But
he's got X-23.
X-23, yeah. So he sticks by. He's very loyal to his characters, which is something I admire. So
right, and that is a great way and a very valid way to play the Fantasy Comic League. There are a lot of people that strictly just take their favorites, like Faye, who we mentioned earlier over in Red Room. Yeah, she only drafts female characters. Okay, and that's great. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's typically not going to win you.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you'll rack up some points.
Because those top female characters are also wanted by other people, like Captain Marvel is something that everybody will draft. Yeah, exactly. So she's not always getting the best female characters. Right. But, there's many ways to play. Like you said, take your favorites. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to do it. Take the top characters. That's a great way to do it.
I'll have to admire Tommy the man on the streets, for being quite consistent, because the drafting system is, from what I understand, very similar to other drafting systems in the Fantasy League, where you do, the person gets to choose. You go in an order, then you go in reverse order, and then you go, and depending on who comes out on top the previous month, they get kind of like less of a choice, or they lose more of their players. So I'm quite impressed that Tommy, amidst all that, manages to still pick consistently good characters, and testament to him picking the power sets for the characters as well. So
we just had I ran down with him a little bit in your guys' division before this draft about the trickiest part about selecting powers.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's something I need to, I guess, really figure out the best way to do it, because it does get kind of confusing and old with selecting defensive, offensive use of stuff. So there's specific characters, like Cyclops is always my go-to, because he's a very, I don't want to call him a one-trick pony, because he's one of my top characters. Right. But really, I mean, Cyclops, the best thing he's going to do for you is optics.
Optics, yeah.
So in order to really help characters like that, we have, defensive and offensive uses of powers like optics or energy blasts or magic and stuff like that. And the way you want to do that, and I'm going to put it down here in the recording so everybody can hear it here, is you always want to take the generic use of that power first, because that's going to protect you, whether Captain America, whether he uses that shield to defend somebody or whether he throws it at somebody, you're going to get that generic use.
Yes. And then on top of that, you choose whether or not you think Captain America will use that shield more so as an offensive weapon, right? And then you may pick it as a shield offensive.
Yeah. And if you want to double down or triple down, because you only get 1 point per power per issue. Otherwise Spider-Man's going to be getting 100 points an issue for his webs. So then you can double down, triple down on the offensive, defensive use of that, but always take that generic use first. That's the trickiest part. But so Thomas, he did well when I explained it to him. He went around and he corrected his powers because he's got Captain America. All his characters actually that he has this month. He's got Punisher, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Miss Marvel, and he did all of the breakdowns. So he took weapon for Punisher. Oh, he didn't take a gun. So that's another thing. You can take weapon and then break it down into guns, blades, and stuff like that. But he broke down Captain America. He took shield and shield defensive. Broke it down for Doctor Strange. Took magic and magic defensive.
Yeah, right.
And it's playing well for him because right now, after 3 weeks in July, he's got an 11-point lead over Zombie here.
He does, Dustin Coldcase. He's doing all right as well. I think that's his first time in Fantasy League as well. I think
he did the free for all.
Oh, he did. He did. That's right. He did. He did it with us. Yeah, I asked him to join. He's very keen. Tommy, I understand he does fantasy football as well. So it's probably maybe that's some experience that he's gotten there. But no, it's a lot of fun with those guys as well. The hardest thing obviously is because we're all in different countries. Is trying to get that drafting.
You said there's 3 of you in Australia, right? Which 3 are in Australia?
No, I think it's Connor and myself, and then Tommy, Dustin, and Chad, who's Angle Time. They're from the US.
Okay, because the winner, part of you being a sanctioned paid division here.
Yes.
The winner will get a trade paperback of their choice.
Oh, that's
to also incentivize it. And so, not that I'm not pulling for you or Connor.
No, for sure.
But I have no idea how I would ship a trade paperback.
No, that's
to you guys to do one.
Totally understandable.
The way I've done it before in the past, we had somebody in England win one season in a division a while ago.
Yeah.
And I just sent him money on PayPal. Said, here's $15. Go buy a trade paperback. I'm not going to ship you something over there.
Yeah, of course. No, the shipping costs double. That will just double the amount. It's ridiculous.
But at the end of the season, we'll figure out who wins for you guys. It looks like Thomas is going to win this month. He's got Miss Marvel, and she had 2 books. This past week in week 4, which I'm guessing is going to boost her a little bit more.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, of course, had his book this week where he's got everybody teaming up against Galactus.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 weeks left, but I think Thomas is going to have it locked down, which is going to put him up to, 4 points plus 3. So he'll have 7 points.
Wow.
And then you are going to be down if you don't pull it together. I think you're off by 2 points in third place. You're down by 3 points or something like that. So if you don't pull it up to second, that'll put you at 5. Connor will be at 5. I don't think Angle is going to bust through with his favorites again.
You never know. Brian. Loki and X-23 might just have a bumper.
They might. Is X-23 involved in this new House of X stuff? She wasn't in issue 1.
Oh, wasn't she? No, I have. I'm behind. I've got it. I haven't read it yet.
It was a good issue.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I've heard good things about it. No, so that's good. So Tommy is in a very fine form for taking out the prize there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to depend on how well he recovers in that last month, because like we said, if you get first place, you lose your whole team and you're going to have to start over again.
Yeah.
But he seems to know what he's doing, so I think I think if he gets first, that will give him 7 points. All I think at that point he would need to do is make sure he doesn't finish in last, to make sure he gets at least 1 point to give him 8. And,
wow.
And
that's enough?
That should be a good one. I mean, it depends on who wins the last month, So, like, for instance,
Yes.
if you manage to pull off second place here,
Yes.
that's going to give you 6.
Yep.
If you can then win the final month, that's going to give you 9, So
Right.
I think it's going to come down to the final week, final month for you guys, which is always the most fun.
That's so
when
cool.
The division comes down to that.
So I need to wrap up second, and I need to take out August, which will be.
You have here. You've got Storm.
I got Invisible.
Cyclops.
Yeah, Invisible Woman. I don't know if she'll be doing much anymore.
I don't think their issue has come out yet. Fantastic Four, right?
Oh, it hasn't. No. Yeah, so there's a chance there.
Yeah, you could get some points there. Cyclops, of course, did well this past week and might show up next week. I think the only issue with that is I think they jump into the future with Powers of X, so I'm not sure how much Cyclops will play to that one.
Yeah.
Iron Man has a book this week. You have Iron Man. That should be good for you. I think you getting second is pretty doable.
Oh, but Cold Case has got a strong lineup as well. Again, I'm not familiar with the coming into this last week the comics that will be out, but he's got the likes of who does he have? He's got
Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah. I mean, there's a big one there. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's all very exciting. But Tommy, if you are listening, which I'm hoping you are, keep at it, man. You're doing very well. So.
And this isn't a slight to Angled. Keep doing what you're doing, but I think you might be out of the running for the season victory. It looks like it's probably going to come down between you, Connor, and Thomas. Zombie, I think, is if Zombie. Again, I forgot his name.
Dustin, because he had the previous months,
right?
He didn't do that well. Is that?
So he's at 2. If he takes second place, if he holds on the second, that will give him 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's still
even if he wins the last month, that will only give him 7. So I think Thomas would be at. Well, okay. So this is the thing. So if he gets second, wins the final month, that gives him 7. He would need Thomas to win this month, lose the next month, and have 7 points as well.
Yep.
So it could happen where it comes into a tie. And when you have a tie like that, it comes down to your overall points for the season. Mm-hmm. Which I think probably Thomas would get the edge, because I think he's been more consistently getting higher points.
Tommy, he is the man on the streets, we like to call him. So he does have his nose to the ground. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but anything could happen these last 2 weeks, and then the final month. It's anybody's game, I think, except again for Angled, not your game. But
sorry, Power of Chad.
But,
you're right.
But you guys, it's exciting. I like seeing when it comes down to the final week, final month.
That's great.
So I'll be watching your guys' division pretty intently.
I will be watching as well, and I'm sure Connor as well will be very keen to know that he's very much in the running as well. Although, when you do rely on other results, when things are out of your power, it makes things a little difficult, but as you say, anything can happen. So
go hard this final month. Take the top tier, take the best, make sure you know what you're doing. Anybody can take it. Excellent.
Well, a huge thank you, Brian. That has been very enlightening. And very fun. A very fun chat with you. Thank you again so much for your time. I know you're very busy and very important time for you around this time as well. So very much appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on. I love talking these stats. I love talking about the fantasy league.
Yeah.
Any other time you want me to come chat about your division, just let me know.
Absolutely. Okay.
I can make myself available, and then once we get the official Fantasy Comic League podcast up and running again, I'm sure we'll invite you onto ours to talk about your stuff.
Love to.
And the other final thing before I let you go, or you let me go. Sorry, this is your show.
That's all right. Yeah.
I'm used to hosting mine. But Moon Knight just reminded me of Moon Knight again.
Yes.
And you have a son.
Yes.
Have you seen the book Good Night Groot?
I've seen it. I've read it. I've got it in hardcover. It's on his shelf. I love it. He's still a little too young to And he's at that age where he's ripping out pages, so I'm keeping him away from it.
I try to keep those away from Parker, the nice ones. That's one of the nice ones. I'm like, I'll read this to you, but you don't get to play it. But I read it again to Parker for like the first time the other night, and I noticed that Moon Knight was in it. And
yeah.
Oh, right, look at that little appearance by Moon Knight.
Absolutely. Does Parker like it? Does he like the book?
He seemed like it. He likes Groot. I have a picture of Groot up that I got from a con on his bedroom wall, and he'll say Groot.
Yeah.
We walked by a totem pole randomly at this one place.
Yeah.
And he saw the totem pole and he goes, Groot. And I'm like, not really, but kind of close. That's
very cool.
Yeah. One of the other things I want to do with the Fantasy League, just for fun, because I want to do, you can apply this review system to, I think, a lot of stuff, like movies. I want to apply it to movies. I want to apply it to, just other things in general. Mm-hmm. Like, I think movies would be very easy to do it for, and one day I will.
Yeah.
Have you seen all these, like, Marvel little golden books and stuff? Like, I want to do it to the Marvel golden books. And,
wow.
It's just so unnecessary. But I feel like it'd be a great way to, like, another thing I could put up on the website. Like, oh, here's the Spider-Man golden book with the Fantasy Comic League review points.
Why not? No, that's a cool. I've only seen them just fleetingly, but I'm sure as Finn gets a bit older, I might have to dip into that pool and start looking at those golden books. But
Marvel's got so many of them. Many.
Wow, really? Wow,
yeah.
That's something I've been totally unaware of. I always just thought it was that Groot book that was the Marvel kind of kids book. Yeah, cool.
All right
then. Well, no, big thanks once again. Look, I'm even thinking, Brian, I might have this as a separate episode. I might put some highlights in our episode as well, but I want to do it some good credit because otherwise, I don't want to make the episode our current episode too long. It's already about 1.5 hours. But I reckon I'll put in some highlights in the episode, and let's release this one as a single episode.
Yeah, that's great, man. I ramble. I like talking about this stuff, so
mate,
I know it ran a little bit long.
No worries. I call myself the Mad Rambler as well, so don't worry. You're in good company.
Oh, great. Well, it was fun, dude. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And, like I said, if you ever want to do it again,
yeah, for sure.
I'm here. Just let me know, and we can, talk about it. Maybe we can come back at the end of what is it, August?
Yeah.
See how your actual division fared before you guys head into a new season.
Let's consider it done. I'm definitely keen for that. So, I've got your Skype and your Discord tag now, so you can't escape.
Sure. All right, man. And when you get caught up, hop back in that division point chat and influence your points as long as you don't sway it too much to your own side.
No, of course not. No, I never do that. But no, big thanks again once again, Brian.
All right, thanks a lot, man. It was great. Looking forward to hearing this.
Cool. Catch you up.
Later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.